Hello everyone, welcome to GC Consultancy Services Education Group. As we said that we are going to start a course on water experts. Okay, as you can see on the screen also. So today we will discuss about many acts, rules and standards related to water prevention and control. Okay, so let's start the video. So first of all, we will discuss on the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. Okay. So actually that act is divided in many chapters. So first of all, take a brief information about a chapter. So in chapter 1 we will discuss about preliminary that is divided in section 1 and section 2. So section 1 is said short title, application and commencement. Section 2 is definition, and chapter 2, that is the Central and State Board for Prevention and Control of Water Pollution. Okay, section 3 said constitutions of central boards, constitutions of state board, terms and conditions of service of members, disqualifications, vacations of seats by members, meeting of board, constitutions of committees, and temporary association of persons with board for particular purposes. And section 11 said vacancy in board not to invalidate acts or proceedings. Delegations of power to chairman, section 11 subsection A, and section 12 is said member, secretary and officers and other employees of board. And chapter 3 joint boards, section 13 said constitutions of joint board. 14 composition of joint boards. Section 15 is special provision relating to giving of directions. And chapter 4 power and functions of boards. Section 16 said functions of central board, functions of states boards, and section 18 powers to give in directions. Similarly, chapter 5, these all related to Water Act 1994. Okay, prevention and control of water pollutions. So section 9 is said power of state government to restrict the application of the act to certain areas, power to obtain information, power to take sample of effluents and procedures to be followed in connection therewith. And section 22 is said reports of the result of analysis on sample taken under section 21. Okay, we will discuss deeply when we start classes. Power of entry and inspections. Section 24 prohibition on use of stream or well for disposal of polluting matter, etc. Section 25 restrictions on new outlet and new discharge. 26 provisions regarding existing discharge of sewage or trade effluent. 27 refusal or withdrawal of consent by state board. 28 related to appeals. 29 revision, and 30 power of state board to carry out certain works. Section 31 is said furnishing of information to state board and other agencies in certain cases. Section 32 emergency measures in case of pollution of stream or well. Section 33 power of board to make application to court for restraining upper-handed pollution of water in streams or wells. And section 33A power to give directions. Okay, and now chapter 6, that is related to funds, accounts and audits. Section 34 is said contributions by central government, contributions by state government, fund of central board, Fund of State Board. 37A, borrowings power of board. 38, budget. 39, annual report. And section 40, accounts and audits. And chapter 7, penalties and procedure. So section 41 is said failure to comply with directions under sections under subsections 2 or subsection 3 of section 20 or order issued under clause C of subsection 1 of section 32. Section 42 is said penalty for certain acts. 43, penalty for contraventions of provisions of sections 24. Section 44, penalty for contraventions of section 25 or section 26. Section 45 is said enhanced penalty after previous conviction. 45A, penalty for contraventions of certain provisions of the Act. 46, publication of names of offenders. 47, offenses by companies. 48, offenses by government departments. 49, cognizance of offense. And 50, members, officers and servants of board to be public servant. And now last chapter of Water Act, chapter 8, miscellaneous. Okay, first of all, 51, Central Water Laboratory, State Water Laboratory, analyst, report of analyst, local authority to assets, compulsory acquisitions of land for the state board, returns and reports, bar of jurisdictions, protections of actions taken in good faith, overriding effect, power of central government to supersedes the central board and joint board, power of state government to supersedes state board, power to central government to make rules, and 64, power to state government to make rules. So we will discuss only important chapters and important sections. Okay, so we will start from chapter 5 of Water Prevention and Control Act 1974. Okay, so let's begin. Chapter 5 deals with the prevention and control of water pollution. In this chapter, different powers have been given to the board, state government and other law implementing bodies. Okay, so section 20 is said this section empowers the board or its authorized representative to obtain information in concern to said act. Okay, once the notice issued for obtaining information, it will be duty of the head of the premises holder to provide such informations. Information could be taking water from different sources, treatment of plant, sewage methodology in the premises and discharge of the wastewater. Okay. And section 21 is said it is important, it is very important as it empower the board or its authorized representative to collect sample of water from the different places such as source water, treated water, wastewater from the premises. Okay, subject to conditions. First conditions, notice in this regard need to be served to owner or his authorized representative of the premises regarding the collection of such sample. Condition 2 is said collection of sample to be done in presence of the owner or his authorized representative. And condition 3 is sealing of the sample and obtaining the signature of both the parties. Now we will discuss on some important notes. So first, if the occupier or his agent met the request, then 2, samples shall be collected, sealed and signed. Okay. Note 2. In case after receiving the notice, the owner or his authorized representative tries to evade the sample collection process, section 21 subsection 4, then also the sample can be collected. Note number 3. One sample sent for lab testing, and on the request of occupier the second sample shall be sent to central laboratory according to sections 51 or state laboratory according to section 52. Note 4. The willful absence of the occupier or his agent shall be reported to the analyst according to section 53. The cost incurred for testing will be borne by the occupier or his agent. In case of default of such payment, the cost shall be recovered as area of land revenue. That's it. So it is very important to note that ever process shall be followed while the collection of sample. Otherwise, it shall not be admissible as evidence in legal proceedings. Now, section 22. The report received from the lab shall be in triplicate copies, out of which one copy shall be provided to the occupier or his agent. If there is any discrepancy in the lab result from the two different samples, the laboratory results under section 51 or 52 shall be prevailed. Okay. Now section 23. Power of entry and inspections. So first point is, the board or his authorized representative is authorized to enter at any time in the public premises for inspection. Point number 2. He is also authorized to inspect the record, document, register and any material object to conducting research of any place under public premises. And point 3 is, however, in residential premises, he is restricted to enter only in reasonable hours. Section 24. Prohibition on use, stream or well for disposal of polluting matter, etc. So point 1 is, no person shall knowingly cause or permit to pollute the stream or well. The pollution can be of any form. Okay. Point 2 is, but the person shall not be guilty of an offense if he having done the following. So point 1 is constructing or improving or maintaining in or across or on the bank or bed of any stream, any building, bridge, weir, dam, sluice, dock, pier, drain or sewer or other permanent works which he has a right to construct, improve or maintain. Okay, that person should not be guilty. Depositing any material on the bank or in the bed of any stream for the purpose of reclaiming land for the supporting, repairing or protecting the bank or bed of such stream, provided such material are not capable of polluting such a stream. And point 3 is said, putting into any stream any sand or gravel or other natural deposit which has followed from or been deposited by the current of such stream. And point D, causing or permitting with the consent of the state board or deposit accumulated in a well, pond or reservoir to enter into any history. Point 3. In case of any offenses committed by a person or as per subsection 1 above than penalty sections 43, that is related to penalty of imprisonment not less than 1 year and 6 months and up to 6 years with fine shall be imposed. That means if anyone prohibited that all the rules regarding the Water Preventions and Controls Act, then he will be punishable under section 43, that is imprisonment of imprisonment not less than 1 year and 6 months and up to maximum 6 years with the fine shall be also imposed. And point 4 is for repeated offense penalty, that is according to section 45 of imprisonment for term which shall not be less than 2 years but which may extend to 7 years with fine. Okay, these both are very important sections. Now section 25, restrictions on new outlets and new discharges. So point number 1 is, if any premises, fresh outlet or discharge or process or any treatment and disposal system change, modification, additions, extensions or alterations in outlet of discharge is done, then at each time a fresh consent of board is required. Clear? If any premises wants to change a fresh outlet or discharge or process or any treatment, then it should be take a fresh consent. दूसरा point number 2, failing to abide the above the penalty under section 44 of imprisonment not less than 1 year and 6 months and up to maximum 6 years with fine shall be imposed. Point number 3, for repeated offense penalty according to under section 45 of imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 2 years but which may extend to 7 years and with fine. Point number 4, the board may grant consent with certain conditions to be complied by occupier. Those conditions shall be fulfilled within a stipulated time, otherwise the board has right to do those things on their own and the charges shall be recovered by the occupier as a land revenue. Now point number 5, the board may refuse to grant consent but the reason for the refusal has to be given in the writing by the board. Board does not have the arbitrary power for refusal of consent. Now point number 6, failing to abide the above the penalty under section 44 of imprisonment not less than 1 year and 6 months and up to maximum of 6 years and with fine shall be imposed. And now point number 7, for repeated offense penalty according to section 45 of imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 2 years but which may extend to 7 years and with fine. Okay, now section 26, that is provisions regarding existing discharge of sewage or trade effluent. Section 27 is related to refusal or withdrawal of consent by state board. Okay, under this point number 1 is said the board may refuse to grant consent but the reason for refusal has to be given in the writing by the board because board does not have the arbitrary power for refusal of consent. And then section 21, that is appeal. Any order made by board under section 25, under section 26 and under section 27, the aggrieved person has the right to appeal within 30 days of time. The appeal shall be preferred to appellant authority. Clear? Section 30. Power of state board to carry out certain works, like if any conditions has been imposed while granting consent under section 25 and under section 26, and that condition is not complied by the occupier of the premises, then the board has right to get that conditions complied through board or its authorized representative, and the cost shall be recovered by the occupier. Now section 31, furnishing of informations to state board and other agencies in certain cases. In any case, if certain operations or process or any treatment, disposal or any extension or addition, if some accident happens which resulted in polluting the discharge into the stream, well or sewage, it is the duty of the occupier to inform the central board or its authorized representative. Now section 32 is emergency measures in case of pollution or stream or well. So point 1 is said, where it appears to board that any poisonous, noxious or polluting matter is present by the reason of discharge from the occupier, and if board feels, remember this point, if board feels necessary or expedient to take immediate actions, then the board may, for reason to be recorded in writing, carry out such operation as it may considered necessary. And such type of matters are, first point, removing the matter from a stream and disposing it off as board feels appropriately, remedying or mitigating any pollution caused by its presence or its streams or well, issuing order immediately restraining or prohibiting the person concerned from discharging any poisonous, noxious or polluting matter. Now point 2, in subsection 1 does not include the power to construct any work other than works of a temporary character which are removed on or before the completion of the operations. And subsection 3, if the occupier fails to comply of any order issued under section 32 of subsection 3, that is point number C, then for each such failure, penalty of imprisonment not less than 1 year and 6 months and up to maximum 6 years with the fine shall be imposed. In case of failure, continue with an additional fine which may extend up to 5,000 per day, that is related to under section 41. Now section 33A, power to give directions. The board in exercise of his power can issue direction in writing to any person, officer, authority, and he shall be bound to comply with such direction. Okay, the power under this section include the power to direct. First point, the closure, prohibition or regulation of any industry, operations or process. Point B, the stoppage or regulation of supply of electricity, water or any other services. In case of violation of this section, the action shall be taken under section 41, that is 5,000 per day. Now chapter 7, penalties and procedures. So 41, failure to comply with directions under subsection 2 or subsection 3 of section 20 or order issued under clause C of subsection 1 of section 32 or direction issued under subsection 2 of section 33 or section 30A and already dealt, that is we discussed before. Section 42, penalty for certain acts. First, whoever, first point, destroyers, pulls down, removes, injures or defaces any pillar, post or stake fixed in the ground or any notice or other matter put up, inscribed or placed by or under the authority of the board. Or point B, obstructs any persons acting under the order or directions of the board from exercising his powers and performing his functions under this act. Point C, damages any works or property belonging to the board. Point D, fails to furnish any officers or other employees of the board any information required by him for the purpose of this act. Point number E, emails to intimate the occurrence of any accident or other unforeseen act or event under section 31 to the board and the other authorities or agencies as required by that section. Point F, in giving any information which he is required to give under this act, knowingly or willfully make a statement which is false in any material particular. Or point G, for the purpose of obtaining any consent under section 25 or sections 26, knowingly or willfully make a statement which is false in any material particular, shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 months or with fine may extend to 10,000 rupees or both. Now, subsection 2, wherefore the grant of a consent in pursuance of the provisions of section 25 or section 26, the use of meter or gauge or other measuring or monitoring device is required, and such device is used for the purpose of those provisions, any person who knowingly or willfully alters or interferes with that device so as to prevent it from monitoring or measuring correctly shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 months or with fine which may extend to 10,000 rupees or both. Okay. Now section 43, penalty for contravention of provisions of section 24, already discussed. Section 44, penalty for contraventions of section 25, it is also already discussed, 25 or 26. Now section 45, enhanced penalty after previous conviction. Okay, if any person who has been convicted of any offenses under section 24 or section 25 or 26 is again found guilty of an offense involving a contraventions of the same provision, he shall on the second and on every subsequent convictions be punishable with imprisonment for term which shall not be less than 2 years, but which may extend to 7 years with fine. Section 45A. In case for any offense, if no penalty has been given elsewhere in this act, then for those offenses the offender shall be punishable with imprisonment which extend to 3 months or with fine which may extend to 10,000 rupees or both. In case of continuing contraventions or failure, with an additional fine which may extend rupees 5,000 every day. Okay. Now section 47, offense by companies. So first point, that means subsection 1, where an offense under this act has been committed by a company or every person who at the time the offenses was committed was in charge of and was responsible to the company for the conduct of the business of the company, as well as the company also shall be deemed to be guilty of the offense and shall be liable to be proceeded against and punished accordingly, subject to conditions. Condition 1, if he proves that the offenses was committed without his knowledge or that he exercised all due diligence to prevent the commission of such offenses, okay, then he should not be guilty. And point number 2, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1, where an offense under this act has been committed by a company and it is proved that the offense has been committed with the consent or convenience of or is attributable or any neglect on the part of any director, manager, secretary or other officers of the company. Such director, manager, secretary or other officers shall also be deemed to be guilty of that offense, shall be liable to proceed against the punished accordingly. And now section 48, offenses by government department, where an offense under this act has been committed by any department of government, the head of the department shall be deemed to be guilty of the offenses and shall be liable to proceed against and punished accordingly. Provided that nothing contained in this section shall render such head of the department liable to any punishment if he proves that the offense was committed without his knowledge or that he exercised all diligence to prevent the commissions of such offense. Okay, now chapter 8. So section 51 of this chapter, Central Water Laboratory. So central government established Central Water Laboratory by Gazette notifications. This laboratory is authorized to test the sample received from different agencies and is authorized to test the sample and receive payment of such report. Section 52, State Water Laboratory. The state government established State Water Laboratory by Gazette notifications. This laboratory is authorized to test the sample received from different agencies and is authorized to test the sample and receive payment of such report. Now section 53, So first point is, the central government by notification appoints such a person as a deemed fit to be government analyst of the sample received under section 51. The state government by notification appoints such a person as a deemed fit to be government analyst of the sample received under section 52, because section 51 is related to central water laboratory and section 52 is related to state water laboratory. Now section 55, local authorities to assist. Under this sections, the board is authorized to seek assistance of all local authority for the discharge of its functions. Now section 61, power of central government to supersedes the central board and joint boards. Section 62, power of state government to supersedes state board. Section 63, power of central government to make rules, and section 64, power of state government to make rules. So now we will discuss on the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Cess Act 1977, that is issued on 7 December 1977. So section 4 of Cess Act 1977. So a fixing of meters. So for this purpose of measuring or recording of water consumed, every person, industry and every local authority shall affix meter. Section 2, subsection 2, if any person, authority fails to fix any meter, the central government after issue of notice shall affix the meter and cost of such meter together. The cost shall be recovered as area of land revenue. Section 5, every person or industry and every local authority liable to pay the use shall furnish such return in such format, such interval and containing such particular to such officer or authority as may be prescribed. Subsection 2, if any person or industry and local authority fails to furnish any return, the authority may give notice to furnish such return before the date as may be specified in the notice. Now section 7 is related to rebate. If any person or industry and local authority install any plant for treatment of sewage or trade effluent, then from such a date, not from, such date as may be prescribed, he shall be entitled to get rebate of 25%. So following persons are not entitled to get the rebate. Okay, first person is who consume water in excess of the maximum quantity as may be prescribed in this behalf for any industry or local authority. And second is who fails to comply of any of the provision of section 25 of Water Act 1974 that we already discussed, any standard laid down in Environment Protection Act 1986. Section 9, power of entry. Any person authorized by state government has got authority to enter into the premises of the occupier and carry out the purposes of this act, including the testing of the correctness of the meter. Section 10, interest payable for the delay in payment of cess. So 2% interest for every month or part of thereof. Section 11, penalty for non-payment of cess within the specified time. So penalty can be imposed which shall not exceeds the area of cess. Section 12. Recover of amount due the recover of amount. This is the heading. The amount due shall be recovered in the same manner as area of land revenue. And section 14, penalty. If false information is given in written, then he is liable to imprisonment for 6 months or fine up to 1,000 or both. And second, willful defaulter to evade payment shall be liable to imprisonment for 6 months or fine up to 1,000 or both. Now we will discuss Schedule 3, that is related to Section 3. Okay. So first is purpose for which water is consumed. Second, maximum rate under subsection 2 of Section 3 and maximum rate under subsection 2A of Section 3. Okay, first, industry, cooling, spraying in mines pits or boiler feeds. Okay, so 5 paise per kiloliter, and maximum rate in under section 2A 10 paise per kilometer, per kiloliter. Now second, domestic purpose, 2 paise per kiloliter and 3 paise per kiloliter. Okay, this is related to subsection 2 of section 3, and this is related to subsection 2A of subsection 3. Now point number 3, processing whereby water gets polluted and the pollutants are first easily biodegradable or non-toxic or both non-toxic and easily biodegradable. So 10 paise per kiloliter or 20 paise per kiloliter. These are very, very important points. So please note down in your copy. Now point 4, processing whereby water gets polluted and the pollutants are not easily biodegradable or toxic or both toxic and not easily biodegradable. Okay, so 15 paise per kiloliter or 30 paise per kiloliter. Now we will discuss on Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Cess Rules 1978, that is reissued on 24th July 1978. So Rule 6, where a consumer install any plant for the treatment or sewage or trade effluent, such consumers shall be entitled to the rebate under section 7 on and from the expiry of 15 days from the date on which such plant is successfully commissioned and so long as it functions successfully. Consumer shall not be entitled to the rebate if he consume water in excess of maximum quantity specified in column 3 that we already discussed of the first schedule. First schedule we will not discuss because it is not very important. Appended to these rules for the category of industries specified in the corresponding entry in column 3 relating to the specified industry given in the column 2 there too. Okay, we will provide all PDF if anyone wants related to acts and rules. Now see, schedule that is related to rule 6. Okay, so name of industry, category and maximum quantity of water. So first is ferrous metallurgical steel, category integrated iron and steel. So 20 cubic meter per ton of finished. Non-ferrous metallurgical produced. So copper or smelters So 100 cubic meter per ton of copper. And second is zinc smelters. That means 50 cubic meters per ton of zinc metal produced. Now chemical, so caustic soda, mercury cell process. So 5 cubic meters per ton of caustic soda produced excluding cooling water, and 5 cubic meter per ton of caustic soda produced for cooling water. Second, 5 cubic meters per ton of caustic soda including cooling water. Now fourth, textile. So first, man-made fiber, nylon and polyester, viscose, rayon. So 170 cubic meter per ton fiber produced, 200 cubic meter per ton of fiber produced. Now paper industry, small pulp and paper. So first, agro residue based. So 200 cubic meter per ton of paper, waste paper based 75 cubic meter ton of paper, large pulp and paper 200 in that pulp and paper, so 250 cubic meter per ton of paper, rayon graded paper 200 cubic meter per ton of paper, straight nitrogenous fertilizer equivalent produced, so 50 cubic per meter ton of urea. Or fertilizer, so B point is straight photo, this is related to actually this, not to paper. Okay, so straight phosphate and triple superphosphate excluding manufacture of any acid, so 2 cubic meter per ton of single superphosphate, triple superphosphate. And third is complex fertilizer, so 50 cubic meter per ton in case the primary products is nitrogenous fertilizer, and 2 cubic meter per ton in case of the primary product is a phosphatic fertilizer. And 7 point is processing of animals or vegetable products in industry, including processing of milk, meat, hides and skins, all agricultural products and their waste. So tanneries, natural rubbers, starch, glucose and related product, dairy and jute. So tanneries, 30 cubic meter per ton of raw hide, natural rubber 6 cubic meter per ton of rubber, starch, glucose and related product 10 cubic meter per ton of maize, dairy 4 cubic meter per kiloliter of milk, and jute 1.5 cubic meter per ton of jute produced. Now sugar, so 2 cubic meter per ton of cane crushed. Maltery 8.5 cubic meter per ton of grain proceeds. Brewery 1 cubic meter per kiloliter of beer produced. Distillery 15 cubic meter per kiloliter of alcohol produced. Now subsection 2, fails to comply with any of the provisions. Fails to comply with any of the provision of section 25 of the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974, 6 of 1974, or any of the standards laid down by the central government under Environment Protection Act 1986. Rule 7. Powers to be exercised by the officer or the authority of the state government. So, the officer or authority of the state government, especially empowered under Section 9, shall have, in addition to the powers referred to in Clause A and Clause B, than sections, the power to inspect the manufacturing process or plants of the consumer, inspect the water supply system and installation in the plant of the consumer, inspect waste treatment system and installation in the plant of the consumer, inspect the drainage system and installation including storm water disposal in the plant of the consumer. And point 5, call for and inspect record relating to the use and consumption of material and water and those relating to productions in the plant of the consumer. Point 6, call for and inspect the records relating to power consumptions in the plant of the consumer. And point 7, call for any other information or record relating to the supply, consumption and treatment of water in the plant of the consumer. Now we will discuss on notification issued by Ministry of Environment and Forest. So primary water quality criteria for bathing waters. This notification is issued on 25th September 2000. Okay. So this is the table that we will discuss. So primary water quality criteria for bathing water. So water used for organized outdoor bathing. So criteria and rationale. So fecal coliform Ampion 100 ml. Okay, so 500 desirable and 2500 maximum permissible. So to ensure low sewage contamination, fecal coliform and fecal streptococci are considered as they reflect the bacterial photogenicity. And second is fecal streptococci Ampion per 100 ml. So 100 desirable and 500 maximum permissible. So the desirable and permissible limit are suggested to allow for fluctuation in environmental conditions such as seasonal change in flow conditions, etc. pH value between 6.5 to 8.5. The range provided protections to the skin and delicate organs like eyes, nose, ears, etc., which are directly exposed during outdoor bathing. Dissolved oxygen 5 milligram per liter or more. The minimum dissolved oxygen concentrations of 5 milligram per liter ensures reasonable freedom from oxygen consuming organic pollutions immediately upstream, which is necessary for preventing productions of anaerobic gases, obnoxious gases from sediment. And fourth, biochemical oxygen's demand 3 day at 27 degrees Celsius. So 3 milligram per liter or less. The biochemical oxygen demand of 3 milligram per liter or less of the water ensures reasonable freedom from the oxygen demanding pollutants and prevent productions of obnoxious gases. Now we will discuss Indian standard IS 1050 and WHO standard WHO World Health Organization standards drinking water. So first, organoleptic and physical parameters. So characteristics, requirement, acceptable limits, permissible limits in the absence of alternate sources. Method of test, reference to part IS 3025 and remarks. And this is WHO standards. Okay, so color Hazen units maximum. Requirement acceptable limits is 5 and permissible limits in absence of alternate sources is 15. Okay, remarks extended to 15 only if toxic substances are not suspected in absence of alternate sources. Okay, and WHO has not issued any standard related to color, Hazen and units. Now next, odor. Agreeable. So taste cold and when heated. Taste to several dilutions. Now pH value 6.5 to 8.5. No relaxations. No remarks also. And WHO standard says no health based guidelines value is proposed. That means IS 10500 is issued a guideline that is lie between 6.5 to 8.5, but WHO has not issued any guidelines related to pH value. Now test agreeable. Test to be conducted only after safety has been established. Okay, now next, turbidity NTU maximum 1, permissible limit 5, total dissolved solid, that means TDS, requirement limit 500, permissible limits 2000, and no health based guidelines values is proposed by the WHO. Now next, general parameter concerning substance undesirable in excessive amounts. So characteristics like ammonia, milligram per liter. So requirement limit 0.5 and permissible no relaxations. And according to WHO, 1.5 milligram per liter. Calcium milligram per liter, so 75 milligram per liter, 200 permissible, 200 milligram per liter permissible, and WHO not issued any standard relating to calcium. Chloride 250 milligram per liter required and permissible 1000 milligram per liter, and according to WHO 200 to 300 milligram per liter. Copper 0.05 milligram per liter required, permissible 1.5 milligram per liter, and according to WHO 2 milligram per liter. Fluorides 1 milligram per liter required, 1.5 permissible, and 1.5 according to WHO milligram per liter. Now, free residual chlorine 0.2 milligram per liter required and permissible limit is 1 milligram per liter, and WHO standard says 5 milligram per liter. Now, general parameters concerning substance undesirable in excessive amount. So characteristics: iron required limit 0.3 milligram per liter, Permissible limit of iron, no relaxations. Total concentrations of manganese and iron shall not exceed 0.3 milligram per liter. And WHO standard says no health based guidelines value is proposed yet. Now magnesium, 30 milligram per liter required, 100 milligram per liter permissibles. Minerals, oils, 0.5 required and no relaxation is given. Nitrate, 45 milligram per liter requirement, no relaxations also given in this, and 50 milligram per liter WHO standards. Sulfate, 200 milligram per liter required, 400 permissibles, and no health based guidelines value is proposed by the WHO. And remarks is may be extended to 400 provided that magnesium does not exceed 30. And total hardness, 200 milligram per liter required, 600 milligram per liter permissibles, and zinc, 500 milligram per liter required, 50 milligram per liter permissibles, and WHO not issue guidelines related to zinc. Parameter concerning toxic substance. So cyanide, 0.05 milligram per liter required. Permissible limits, no relaxations. And according to WHO, 0.07 milligram per liter is required. Lead, 0.01 milligram per liter. Permissible limit, no relaxations, and according to WHO, 0.01 milligram per liter. Mercury, 0.001 milligram per liter required and no relaxations in permissible limit, and according to WHO, 0.006 milligram per liter required. Total arsenic, 0.01 milligram per liter required and permissible limit is 0.05 milligram per liter, and according to WHO, 0.01 milligram per liter. Bacteriological quantity of drinking water, organism requirement and WHO standards. So first, all water intended for drinking, E. coli or thermolatent coliform bacteria shall not be detectable in any 100 milliliter sample. Treated water entering the distribution system, so E. coli or thermotolerant coliform bacteria shall not be detectable in any 100 milliliter sample, and total coliform bacteria shall not be detectable in any 100 milliliter sample. Treated water in the distribution system, E. coli or thermotolerant coliform bacteria shall not be detectable in 100 milliliter sample, and total coliform bacteria shall not be detectable in 100 milliliter sample. Now, design based use water quality criteria. Design based use, class of water and criteria. So drinking water source without conventional treatment but after disinfections. So this is a class A water, and total coliforms organism MPN per 100 milliliter shall be 50 or less pH between 6.5 and 8.5, dissolved oxygen 6 milligram per liter or more, and biochemical oxygen demand 5 day at 20 degrees Celsius 2 milligram per liter or less. Outdoor bathing organized. This is class B water criteria. So total coliforms organism Ampion per 100 milliliter shall be 500 or less, pH between 6.5 and 8.5, and dissolved oxygen 5 milligram per liter or more. Biochemical oxygen demand 5 days 20 degrees Celsius 3 milligram per liter or less. Drinking water source after conventional treatment and disinfections. Class C of water. Total coliforms organism Ampion per 100 milliliter shall be 5000 or less, pH value between 6 to 9, dissolved oxygen 4 milligram per liter or more. Propagations of wildlife and fisheries. This is class D of water. pH between 6.5 and 8.5, dissolved oxygen 4 milligram per liter or more, free ammonia 1.2 milligram per liter or less. Irrigation, industry, cooling, controlled waste disposal. Class E water, pH between 6 to 8.5, electrical conductivity at 25 degrees Celsius micro mohs per centimeter, maximum 2250. Sodium absorption ratio maximum 26, or boron maximum 2 milligram per liter. So now we conclude Water Expert course. Thanks to every participant who enrolled in course. Now